Welcome back to another episode of Tottenham Talk.
We were
I know all you
probably-
viewers out there
We were
very.
probably seven.
I know all you viewers out there are very sad and questioning, I guess, not our form, but what's going on with that. And my plan to do this is give our thoughts and opinions and see what we can do next game. So glad we're here with how much of a disappointing loss it was against West Ham.
Was it okay? Here's my question: was it really that disappointing? I kind of expected it.
Yeah, I said we are gonna lose, but I don't want to be.
I just am here sitting in my apartment alone at 7:00 a.m. with a blanket around me, in the pitch black, watching us lose, and it was just like the most defeated.
Man, that sounds like a worst morning ever.
Yeah, but
anyway, no, this episode's gonna be a good one because I think besides us really breaking down necessarily the West Ham game, I want to talk strictly about squad morale, maybe things that Jose can't control. Is it really Jose's fault? Kind of go down that route and get into the deep questions, stuff that we don't really like to think of or ask at this stage. We've played. We're halfway through the season. We have played 24 games, which puts us at 13 more, 14 more.
14. We played 38. Yeah,
14 more, with also Europa League and then obviously the final of Carabao Cup. But most importantly, our chances of getting Champions League football is through Europa League. So, Clay, I kind of just want to break down the team, what maybe we should focus on cup-wise or league-wise. Maybe focus more on Europa League. What we think, are give our opinions about that. But
for sure,
I really want to give our audience a really in-depth insight of what we feel, and ask some of the questions that we don't like asking. So to start it off, we saw, I thought, a strong lineup again.
You want to just talk about our feelings about the game overall to start it, and then we can go into whatever question you have.
Sure.
Because I got a lot. I feel like I gotta get some stuff off my chest. I mean, so I explained my situation when I watched the match this morning, and it felt so sad because I don't know. I feel lost almost now. And I don't want to sound so end of the world type of thing, but when it comes down to it, we're not having good results. We don't have exciting football. We don't have that hope. We don't have a promising long-term project at hand, like maybe a Poch would have. I don't feel as confident. Oh, well, next year, Jose has this under this plan. It seems so aimless. That our season and our team and our direction seems aimless, and that worries me because part of the reason we do this podcast, is we want to inspire the next generation of Spurs fans, and it's so hard to do that, especially in America, with football becoming, a very popular thing. We want to get people on the Spurs bandwagon because we know how much it means to us. And I feel like it is so hard to do that with the way we are playing, with the style of play, the ambition, the morale, the confidence, but then I think about it and it's a catch-22, right? Our players are low on confidence and they're not starting games off well. But then once they get into the game, it's too late. And then we lose. And then Jose doesn't know what to do. And then we go into another game and it's all the same thing over again, And so we have a positive ending to most of our games. We had a positive ending, I'd say. Very good second half, at least, if not that second, or fourth quarter, you might say, of the game. And that's a good way to end it. But, that doesn't matter if you don't get the result, And so you go into the next game saying, well, we ended the last one good. Now let's do that again, But we've been doing that for weeks now, I think I counted it out today. We have 3 Premier League wins in our last 13 Premier League games. That's horrible. And it's not like we've played City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool, and Leicester in all those games, we have some terrible like results against sides that are a no-brainer. We're going to beat this team. And, we played Burnley at the weekend, and I am not confident that we are going to win. We barely beat Burnley at the first game of the season, and it's going to be tough, So I just feel like we're in this situation where Jose doesn't know what to do. He kind of said that today in his press conference. He kind of said, I feel like there are some things that I just can't change. But he still has confidence in his management style. Kane believes in him. Son believes in him. But then I just don't know where the team's at. I have no grasp of where we're at as a team. Does that make any sense?
No, it makes total sense. It's, I don't know if there's really a certain party to blame here, but, as a fan, it's a loss of hope, honestly. Just like when you go into a match, you're just like, you almost don't even want to watch because of what you've seen previously. And like, you think, well, is it actually going to get better? And so, as a as a supporter, you think, okay, I think this person should start, or this person should play, or we should sell this guy, or we should buy this guy, and and obviously it's a lot more complex than that. And we've given a lot of in our own opinions about who we think we should sign and stuff like that. But we have to work with what we have now, and I think it's safe to accept that we won't make top 4. So,
do you actually think that?
Yes, we will not make top 4.
Okay, let's stop and let's take on that point for a sec, because I think we're 9 points off top 4. Let me check. But the fact that this early in the, we still have a lot of games to play, right? 14 games. That's a lot of games. We can easily put a 10 more wins. If we can't put 10 more wins together, that's,
Well, you also understand too that the teams that are needed to lose keep winning. So we can't keep up with it.
Right. But if we keep up, so we're 9 points off top 4 right now. If we keep up, I have confidence that other teams will slip. Liverpool's been slipping. Chelsea's been slipping. Everton will beat Liverpool and then they lose to Fulham, or they lost to Fulham, then they beat Liverpool. If we are consistent, no team's consistent, right? We just got to be consistent and trust in that and trust that process type of thing. But my point is with so many games left and we're already saying, like, I'm kind of with you. Like, I don't think we're going to get top 4, but the fact that we're already saying that with so much time left, does that not just like a explanation of our season,
Well, if we had coming from our performances, how many of the 24 Premier League matches have we played where we were good?
I don't know, like maybe 2/3. No, maybe not even.
Off my head, you've got the United 50%. Game. We were really good. We played City. That was good. Southampton,
Arsenal.
All these games. Arsenal. All these games were more towards the beginning, but yes, there's a ton of games left. 14, to be exact. Which is how many points? 14 times 3 is what? 37.
Yeah.
All right. For 37. So we have what? 37 points remaining. We can maybe hit in the 60s. So we're looking literally right at what we were last year. And that's zero improvement with 7 signings.
Right.
So
you're right.
So you think, okay, with the signings we had this past summer, we no doubt should be a top 4 team, with all the other teams getting better as well. Okay. So with that, we obviously did not meet those expectations. What is your move as like Daniel Levy? Well, if you were Daniel Levy in this situation, what is your move next? I mean, I know we're looking at other manager replacements right now because Josie's on some thin ice, but it's hard to, pick up a manager like that because you have to pay off the one that you already have employed there. And then, the person that you want to pick up might not come. So yes, it's tough. And I know we put an episode out a couple episodes ago about who we would say.
Right.
Do you think, so with my question, do you think that if we were to bring a new manager in, then that impact or that manager could have that much of a dramatic impact to maybe change former runs, such as maybe Tuchel or Tuchel with Chelsea?
Yeah, that's the question of the day, right? You obviously see it's not really Jose in terms of tactics and play style. We were talking about it earlier with my roommate. We asked every Spurs fan said we want a new style of play, we want attacking football, and we did. We changed it. We have been. We had 69% possession today, and we're still not getting the results. And what is that attributed to? It's individual mistakes. All in all, really. Whether that's a mistake of not finishing in front of goal, because I think that is just as important and just as much of an issue as our defensive mistakes are. Yes, we let in goals, but yes, we also don't finish goals. With 20 shots that we had today, 1 goal is terrible. That is terrible.
It was a header.
And it was a header goal, and so you look at that and you say, okay, well, those are individual mistakes. Is that really a manager's fault? On paper and, in the grand scheme of things, probably not. But is it also not the manager's job to say, okay, we're in this position. What do we do now? How do we get out of this? How do we fix it? The players are low on confidence. Every member of our back line, besides maybe Sergio, is low on confidence. And you might say maybe not Matt Doherty too, because he hasn't really played much. But in terms of center backs, they are low on confidence, Matt. I tell you what, it's hard to watch because they don't even know what they're doing. I feel like because there is some good quality. I mean, you look at Toby; he's was at least a top center back, and he's not old enough to be such a washed out player, And then you look at Sanchez and Dyer and Joe Rodon, and they're not the best, center backs we have or that in the world, obviously, but they're not the worst, And you look at even West Ham's back line; they're just better organized and better composed than us, And I don't understand why we're not. So going back to your point about the manager, is that whose fault is that? Jose? Is that Ledley? We were talking earlier. Is Ledley the reason that who do we blame here?
Or is no one to blame?
Right. But if no one's to blame, then how do you fix it? What's the root of the problem? Tell people not to make mistakes. When Jose said he's not sure what he can do, that's got to be what he's talking about, right?
Yeah. So it's got to be. I almost wonder, if it's simply. So I looked these past 5 games. We've got these past 5 games we played. We've won 1, and lost 4, and the one we won was.
Is that all comps though? You're talking about
Premier League?
Okay, that was West Brom.
Premier League games was 4 losses and 1 win, and the win was against West Brom. Now, I mean you should win that game. I mean they're bottom 3 right now. When you were talking earlier, part of me kind of was like, you know what, maybe we're just in a slump of form, and maybe the attacking football, and we put 20 shots up, and we were high press, that was good. Maybe something will come from that next game. Maybe it's kind of like I said, it's kind of like in golf, you start playing well, scoring comes. Part of me thinks in soccer, you start playing well, maybe scoring comes. Now, it's tough to relate those two because one's an individual sport, of course, and one's 11. Right. But point being is, I'm taking the other side to this. Yes, there's 14 games left. Yes, there's 37 points remaining, and yes, we could win all of them. I mean, that's definitely possible. Now, will that happen? Probably not. But with how we saw West Ham, the attacking tactics and the tactics of just how we pressed, I thought was good. And we can fix us not being able to put, 4 more goals away than with 20 shots.
My question is here, though, how do you fix that? We talked about Bergwijn from day one, he's got to he'll get it, and now he's gone, 34 games without a goal? Or not 34 games.
I mean, I want to say something so simple by saying, training and not even blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, yes,
it is it's kind of a rhetorical question, It seems like there isn't an answer, but continue. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the common answer would be practice it in training now for the next couple of days. Well, okay, I get that. And I would say that. And I'm sure they do that. I'm sure they 100% do that. you know, I look at our side and our consecutive losses, kind of how Chelsea was in this little rut. On paper, Chelsea's squad was looking great, and then they were not performing well under Frank. And so then they picked up, Thomas, and, things are kind of getting to the groove. But the formation is so different now with Chelsea. I don't know if you knew, but Chelsea's played like a 4-3
Right.
Frank, sometimes a 4-2-3-1. A 4-2-3-1 is very common with, honestly, any manager. But
Correct.
then they started playing a 3-4-2-1. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I looked at it on paper. I was like, this is a pretty good squad on Chelsea's side. So part of me thinks, well, yes, I get the success of the club depends more on if Jose's going to stay or not. And so maybe it's not a good time to take risks, but I feel like you have to take risks at some point when things are not working. And with that, maybe switch it up a bit.
Yeah, it's hard because, going back to your question, and I kind of skated around it and I talked a lot about, but I didn't really answer it. Is a new manager really going to fix that? And I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answer. But my only thoughts are, we talk about the individual mistakes, the lack of confidence, the lack of morale, and that is Jose's job. Whether he likes it or not, that's part of the job. I think he's doing everything else in a pretty good way. He's kind of changed his mindset in terms of what type of football to play. He's, encouraging. He takes a lot of the blame in press conferences, things like that old Jose might not have done. But there's still that he alienated players. He alienated Dele and Bale for the longest time. And, Harry Redknapp was talking about how Bale is one of those players. Well, just because he was a superstar does not mean he's different than any other player, in the sense that when he loses confidence, he loses confidence, and if you're able to get him back into it, then he can still be that amazing player. And I always think of that about that, because the way Jose alienates players isn't best for everyone. I feel like it's really good for certain players, like Tanguy. Tanguy, it worked. It's a great example. But a player like Dele or Bale, even, I don't think it's working. And some people may say, you got to just, hike up your boots and deal with it, type of thing. But if you're a really good manager, you see how to get the best out of your individuals.
Every player.
Whether or not that's Sanchez has, if you look on paper, his attributes, whether that's speed, size, age, all that, he should be a good center back. But what's not working? He has no confidence when he's going up 1v1. Okay, well, let's take our worst attackers and have him come at, Sanchez, have him come at Sanchez. And, if Sanchez wins it, you do that all day, all day. And then he's got more confidence. He's, okay, I can do this. I've done this. I've been in this spot, 1,000 times. And I don't know. I think it's really cool if we could see something like that, because that's what a manager has to do. And maybe he is doing stuff like that. But then you look at Bergwijn, right? And you put Bergwijn up against an academy defender, put him up against an academy defender, and have him toast him all day, have Bale toast him all day, and then just rocket shots on, put Joe Hart in there or Alfie Whitman, and get that confidence back and just force it back into him. I'm not saying those things would work or that Jose's not doing them, but it's that type of thing that the manager is responsible for the way the players are feeling, And you can say they're adults, they got to be in charge of, that's their boss, it's the same way, in the workplace. If you are not performing well, your boss has to find a way to help his team, get results, in numbers. But maybe a new manager can do that. When new managers come, you usually see that little uptick in performance, even if for a little bit, because it's something new, players get a clean slate, Dyer and Sanchez, who may feel like crap because of how poorly they've played under Jose, they get a new manager and it's like, well, I get a new chance to prove myself, next day, first day of training, I can prove myself again and show I do deserve this spot, and stuff like that. So I think it could help to get a new manager. I don't think it's a risk, because we have 14 matches left. We are still in the Carabao Cup final. We are still in Europa League. But if we keep playing like this, that's a bigger risk than trying something out, in my opinion.
I'm more with you on that statement right there. I mean, you're right though. Like, there's nothing. if we do keep continuing this play, I mean, we'll get rocked in
Totally.
cup we play against. I mean,
and you see the players, the people who are like, and I'm not Jose in or out necessarily at this point. I really don't know. And it's we aren't Daniel Levy. We can talk about it all the point, but we don't have to make the choice. And in a way, that's nice, but you wonder what it'd be like in his shoes. But it's tough. I really don't know. Sorry, continue your thought. I interrupted you there.
No, you're fine. No, it was just a quick thought. You think, like I said, if we continue playing like this, then we'll get rocked in any, league we play in. And, you wonder, it's so tough. I think this is tough when you have a squad that goes out against a team like Wolfsburger, and we kind of dominate in a way. And then you kind of go into a Premier League side and it's just different. It's just different. And it's harder, more aggressive, it's faster. So you wonder, well, who performs best, in certain leagues. Maybe get like the data behind it, almost.
Yeah.
And, you've got say these 6 players who really have shown what they can do in Europa League and Premier League. Okay, well that's good to know. Maybe we look these guys will sit more Premier League than Europa League though, because I have a bunch of other players that could play Europa League that against the smaller sides like Wolfsburg. Right. So coming up this coming Wednesday, I wonder what Jose's going to do in terms of lineup. Maybe you don't play Kane and Son and Tanguy. You don't play them.
I totally agree. We're up 4-1.
Why don't you throw out? We're up 4-1. Have them just in case. But why don't you start? Heck, put Rodon in there. Put Joe Hart in there.
He can't play Rodon. He's not in our Europa League squad, unfortunately.
Oh crap! You're right.
But you have your point. Start Dane Scarlett.
Okay. Tanganga. I know he had a rough game against West Ham, but throw him in there. At center back though, maybe try something different. Maybe show some faith you have in your guys, which I'm sure Jose has, and rest all your starters, and maybe get them to more do like this sounds so cliche and so cheesy, but a team building exercise. Get the players back to wanting to play the game that they love.
I think you're spot on. Something like a team building exercise, which sounds so stupid and cliche. But I was going to ask you, how do you, if you're the manager, Matt, how do you get the confidence back in your players? You look at Dyer and Toby at the beginning of the season; they were playing unreal. They really were. They were playing well. So that means they have it in them. What's happening? How do you get that back? And I talked about some things you could do on the pitch.
I think a lot of the players are losing love for not the game, but losing their passion to play under necessarily Jose, or kind of losing their will to, make the extra run, because they're kind of just irritated with stuff outside of the pitch. So obviously the things that go on outside their lives will impact their performance.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what goes on behind the scenes that we can't see, but
right.
I mean, the big part of it is you have to somehow bring the team together. And I think this is a great moment. You throw up, Alfie White. Dane Scarlett, maybe heck, play Dane with Kane.
Honestly,
try something that gives the fans like, okay, I have hope now.
Yeah,
okay,
and I will say, I feel for Jose when it comes to the fans, because right now Spurs fans are in a very toxic place, and we all are. It's not necessarily a negative, hit on anyone. It's like this is not the Spurs we all fell in love with. This is not the Spurs that we have backed for, whether for us it's 10, 15 years of our life, or for some it's 50 years. They've been there in the worst of worst times, and they've been there through the highs of Poch, and they've been there through so much, and now they're forced to be through this too, and it's almost too much for us as fans. So I feel for Jose in trying to appease the fans as well. But going back to what you're kind of talking about, I was trying to think, how do you fix the player's confidence? And myself as a player, when I am low on confidence, I try to do the simple things, whether that's in a warm up, I always knew I'd have a good game if we'd play Rondo before, and if I'd win the ball multiple times, defending in the middle, I'd always start in the middle. And if I can do that, then I know I'm gonna have a good game. And you got to find something like that, So is that Jose's job, or is that on the players to know what works for them? I mean, they're what, from anywhere from 20 to 30 years old. They gotta be, it's not like they're kids, They got to know what works for them at this point, right? Or is that on Jose? It's a tough question. Yeah, both maybe. Yeah.
You as a player, you know what you need to do in order to show out, and you said it yourself, like the simple things. As a striker, maybe just try to connect more. Instead of trying to take this player on yet, you don't have the confidence to do it. Maybe lay this pass off instead of turning, or something simple like that.
Right.
That's your example, but you're right though. Maybe in training next time, don't even pick up a ball. Maybe play handball. Maybe throw it around. Get the whole entire where we're sitting in the Premier League, where we're sitting in UEFA League or the UEL. I mean, anywhere, just out of everyone's head, and kind of click a restart button. Be like, guys, listen, we have the talent, and I'll stick by that. For as long as I live. We're good enough. We're absolutely good enough. I mean, we put 6 behind United, and we scored 5 against Southampton like the first 2 games. Okay. So I know we're good enough. So what's missing?
Right.
So that's when I think you just take the soccer out of it. And
we always under Podge, you always saw us play stuff like handball and do all those weird things where you can see what they're doing at practice type of thing, and
I've seen a lot of that with Josie this year. I mean, they're playing basketball, they're playing all these different fun games, and you've got Toby freaking out, and you don't see that. And it's kind of heartwarming in a way, because you're like, man, like these guys have a life outside of when we watch them.
Right.
I think that's what I'm sure Jose will do something involving these lines. But I really want, I don't think this Europa League match will really tell us much, since we're seeing 3 goals and high, or we're winning 4-1.
So 4 away goals. I mean,
and 4 away goals. Good point. And obviously, I don't see us letting up more than that. And I think that's when you really change it up a bit, and kind of put it in put this next game on Wednesday as like a teaching game, and play. Put Winks back in, and throw
Bergwijn,
Harvey White, midfielder, right? We put him in there. We put Bergwijn up with Scarlett, and then try with other 16-year-old. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a little too many young guys, but the point I'm trying to get across is throw some other people in to give them a chance, and be like, Sissoko, look what he's doing. And kind of point out, that's all I want you to do. That's all you do. It's not that difficult. And, maybe it is that difficult.
Right. No, but that's you simplify it for the players,
as a teaching tool, and to get them in their head, thinking, okay, you know what, maybe my spot's not necessarily up right now or in jeopardy right now, but from the way I'm playing, the way it's looking like, I have a 16-year-old playing in my position right now.
Yeah.
And I hope it motivates them. I mean, it's motivated Aurier to play better when Doherty came. It's motivated Davies to play better, even though he's with Reguilon. But you get the point. You get what I'm coming across. And wish I was coach, because, oh my gosh, I wish I could do something, but, we can't. And, what are your thoughts about that?
No, I think you're spot on. And, you throw in someone like Bergwijn, and maybe someone like, I don't even know what to do with their defense at this point, but talking strictly offense, like you're saying, throw Harvey White in, throw Dane Scarlett in, throw Bergwijn in, because this is a perfect match. We always want to save Bergwijn for the weekend, I feel like. So that's why he doesn't play as much Europa League. But it should be the other way around right now. Bergwijn is not at performing his best. and he's helping the team because the team's not doing that well. So we need to save him for that. But how can we get Bergwijn back to his best, So to me, you play a team like Wolfsburger, who's what, 6th in the Austrian league. That's crap. And you put him in, and that is a perfect spot for him to take charge. No Kane, no Højbjerg in there. Be like, you have some youngsters in here, Berg. This is your job. Lead this team, And he's like, all right. And he goes out there with confidence, with the trust that, the gaffer backed me to lead this game, to win this game for us. And, he scores 2 goals. I mean, that's all it takes for a player to switch from all the way down here in confidence to all the way up here.
I don't think he has 1 goal, right?
No, not this season.
I don't think he has 1 goal. So, you know what? That's going through his head. It is. It is. It's so tough because, even coming from like my experience and playing against, even, not even against Premier League sides, but just as a player,
wait. You haven't played against Premier League sides?
Burnley once or twice, but it was their 16 side. No, you think, I love that idea, what you said with Bergwijn. It motivates someone. It really pushes them to kind of be a next level, a new person, and then imagine that that new person with your starting squad,
right.
And things kind of just reset. And so, but my point I was going to say was look at Curtis Jones. Great example. Okay. Curtis Jones is 18 years old, probably something like that.
Look it up.
Curtis Jones, young, obviously. And he starts a lot of games now in UEFA, in the Champions League and in the Premier League, in a midfield position for Liverpool. And, once Liverpool started losing all their – how old is he?
20.
20, okay.
Still.
Even better. 20 years old. And he honestly has proved to be one of the best youth center mids in the Premier League this year, from starting and from coming on as a sub. Look at Liverpool's situation when they lost practically their whole back line with ACL injuries, all that stuff. They had nobody. Well, then Henderson moved back there with Fabinho. Then, injured. Well, point is, Curtis got a chance to play. Okay. So now I feel like as a midfielder, you kind of get, don't get me wrong, injuries takes a toll, but you kind of think, okay, I kind of want my position back. I need to maybe focus up a bit and maybe try some things new. So maybe things on their own that they do at their house. I don't know. But I feel like putting Curtis in for Liverpool was the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
For both parties. So for us, little different situation. We don't have injuries necessarily. But why don't you put in, like I said, Harvey White and Sissoko, or Harvey White and Højbjerg. Højbjerg would be perfect with Harvey White. And
I honestly think Harvey White and Winks is great too.
Winks is too, and be like Winks.
Lean into that.
Kind of show this man how you perform this position. In a way, obviously.
Yeah, be a leader. You can be a leader. Anyone can.
And I would, if I was in the manager position at this moment, and I told Bergwijn to go, I started Bergwijn with, a bunch of youngsters, I'd be like, listen, put the ball in the back of the net. Because you did it at PSV. You've done it before with us against City. You've done it against United. Put the ball in the back of the net. You can do it. I'm not going to, and I feel like, not hate, but, when obviously there's a lot going on and there's a lot to win for in a Premier League game. It's not, oh, it's okay, you can try it next time.
Right.
But I feel like there's always times when you have to kind of say that. It's not always be better, be better, be better. I feel like there's always a time where you got to be like, listen, I know what you can do. I might not comment on what just happened. Fix it and we'll move on.
Yeah.
Instead of there's long lasting kind of
feuds,
bad motive, bad presentation that comes off of the supporters, the manager, even the players. And so then it kind of makes it hard to shoot from top of 18 because you don't want to, someone, or not someone, but you don't want Sissoko to comment on, oh, blah, blah, blah. You got to get the team piece back together is kind of what I'm and
no,
to do
totally.
that, I think, is to play some younger guys, kind of just do something different a bit. And heck, to what I look at it is best of both worlds again is you got young guys getting really good experience against, no one's easy necessarily. And then you've got your starters rested.
Yeah, exactly. And those players that are seeing the fatigue, not that we want to play Ben Davies, but Ben Davies, I'm sure Højbjerg has seen that. He's played so much. All of our center backs, they're all playing a lot. Hugo, all of that. It gives a great opportunity for them as well. So honestly, Matt, I really like where this episode went. I'm not even sure I want to do like player ratings and stuff.
I was on the same way, baby. I was like,
one thing, we do want to talk about in terms of West Ham game was, and this kind of goes with my idea of playing Bergwijn in Europa and kind of being like, look, you can score. I know you can. Just release. Have no like thoughts about this and just play type of thing. Have fun type of thing. And it's that's okay. He can do that because now we have Bale playing well. And I want to start Bale at the weekend against Burnley. And I also could start Dele, type of thing. And I think Dele and Bale both deserve a lot of credit, as well as Lucas and Lamela. The four of them are busting their ass right now to be in this team, for this team. When some players aren't necessarily, and I want to give them credit where credit's due because this is kind of our post-match recap or whatever. It's a good, like, I kind of think of this as a Spurs fans therapy session almost, which is, it makes me feel a lot better about where we're at and where the club's at now because we have these opportunities. After the game, you think, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. So listening to this and just talking about it is great. But honestly, man, I don't think we need to say anymore. I think that was a great episode. Like we said, I think Bale and Dele deserve some credit, as well as Lucas and Lamela. Great header from Lucas today, but yeah, let's not even rate him. Let's leave it at that and kind of go forward. Let's clean slate it type of thing. You're muted.
And I just realized that. I hope our audience doesn't think, when I talk or you talk that we're trying to be, or we're negative in a way. We're negative Nelly when we say we're a bunch of trash cans. But, I am talking truth, which is one thing. But really, who knows? Maybe with Bale becoming back in kind of a form that we like, maybe it's a motivator for the other guys. It's kind of weird now we're kind of playing bad when Bale starts playing well, Maybe we should start making Bale bad and we'll start playing well.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
I think I want to say these next 5 Premier League games we could win, or we have a good chance of winning. I want to say that because part of me in the back of my head just has this weird optimism about the kind of quality of football that we played, yet we still lost.
Yeah,
it was the same thing with, anything can happen in the Prem, of course, but it's safe to say that we won't make top 4. I think it's safe to say that.
I think it's safe to say we probably won't.
I also want to prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say we probably won't make top 4, but I don't think it's safe. I don't think it's fair to say already that we won't straight up, because there's 14 games left, if we can't pull it together, then we got a lot more issues. And then it's not saying that we won't, because it's not looking good right now. And like I said, personally, I don't think we will if we continue to play like this, but that's another story.
And as, my gosh, it's so weird because, I use City as one of the best, one of the examples because they're the best team right now.
Yeah.
And they will, of course. They won 1-0 against Arsenal at Arsenal.
Yeah.
They won 1-0 when people thought they could win 3-0, blah, blah. Well, what shocked me most was not shocked, but it kind of shocked me, yeah, because I'm a Tottenham supporter. What shocked me most was that Arsenal did not score. And to not score in 90 games in a Premier League match, I think is kind of rare.
90 minutes, you mean?
Sorry, what did I say?
90 games.
90 games, sorry, 90-minute match is rare. You know, you'd think you'd put at least one goal away. Same with City putting another goal away. City scored in the 3rd minute, and they kept it the rest for 87 more minutes. So whether that was good defense or bad attacking from the opposite side, I wonder. I mean, they're the best team because they're right there. They're not conceding. They're not conceding.
Correct.
But they're still attacking like no other.
Correct.
So they're doing something right, and I want to know what it is.
Yeah.
So you kind of why don't you kind of mirror off them in a way?
Yeah, it's hard because, you know, I feel like when they were in poor form, there wasn't really a confidence issue like there is in our club. They've never been as fragile as us, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, Pep's been with them for so long. Jose's relatively new. So
True.
It's hard to make that comparison. I understand. That's where I want to be. I want to be at the place where instead of us saying, hey, we need to win the games we want to win and then hopefully just do well against City and Liverpool. You know, I don't want to be that. I want to be like Liverpool and City where no matter what team they're going to play, they're probably going to win. Not Liverpool now, but Liverpool last year. You know what I mean? And that's my long-term goal for us as a club. And to when we can be at the point where people are adjusting their style of play to us and not us always saying, okay, we play City today. We're probably gonna have to counter more and sit back. You know, it's like, no, we play Spurs ball and they'll have to adjust to us.
Let them defend. Make them defend. Make them defend. You know, we could go on for days.
We could go on forever. So I mean, I think this episode is exactly what we needed. Hopefully it's what other people needed. I know it helped to talk about it. So reach out to us. You know, like we said, we post these comments stuff on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and everything for a reason. We want to try and build this community. So thanks for listening, guys. We really appreciate it. You know, we're trying our best to get you the best content out there. So check us out on Twitter and Instagram at @_Tottenham_Talk. And as always, guys, come on, you Spurs.